Hello, guys, and welcome to episode number 206 of the Next Gen Basecast. I am your host, Ben, and it's been a while because it's been far too hot, but I'm joined by Mr. Gary Clark. How are you, my good man?
All good, all good. Yeah, like you mentioned, it is warm, but we are here, and yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, it has been far too hot to basically do a podcast of any description over the past few weeks. So yeah,
Yeah,
we've sort of had a bit of a break, and I'm also joined by Mr. Aaron Sullivan. Are you well?
I'm good, sir.
Excellent
Wonderful.
stuff. Yeah.
Good to be here.
Has it cooled down for you guys at all since the ridiculous heat wave that we had the other week?
Oh, it's definitely cooled
Yeah.
down, but it's still steamy
yeah,
by our standards. But yeah, that was crazy desert weather. It
Yeah.
felt like we were in another country. It's
Yeah.
nuts.
Yeah, I mean, I've only experienced that heat
Madness.
twice. Once is when we went to Vegas, and once is when we went to Dubai. And it's like walking out of the front door, it just felt like we were in that kind of environment, just like hit by a wall of pure heat. It's like, no, absolutely no
You
chance.
went,
I actually
you went
think
outside.
Had to.
I actually think it's I actually think it is worse here than it was in Vegas, because in Vegas it's like a dry heat,
Yeah.
where here it's got like that humidity with it, which is that was awful when it was like 40 degrees or whatever.
Yeah. Crazy times. I mean, we're not built for it in the UK, and like people would probably be listening to it going, "Oh, it's all right, you know, we have that all the time in America or Australia, wherever." But no, we don't. Our houses are built to contain heat, and they don't have air conditioning, so it was pretty ridiculous. So yeah, that's essentially why we've had a bit of a break, because we all record in relatively small rooms, which have been essentially saunas for the past few weeks. I know my office room hit like 34 degrees without anything
Madness.
turned on, and like my room heats up anyway because I've got like a PC, I've got my consoles, and like I couldn't do any gaming basically during that week because it was just ridiculous. But yeah, no, it's been a while, so I will get the ball rolling as ever. By starting with what we've been playing. And I'm going to go to Aaron first, because I know one of the games is a game that me and Gary have both played. So, Aaron, what have you been playing over the past few weeks?
What game is that? I'm trying to think. Yeah, so no rest for the wicked. So again, it's been a bit light. Still playing more Hitman.
Yes.
Oh, what else have I played? Oh, this is a struggle. Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I decided to install that. See what was going on. I mean, I know I complain about Ubisoft games, but when they're essentially free,
Yeah.
I have to try them out. I was decently impressed by the opening epilogue in the Homeland. I'm a little less impressed by once you get out of that epilogue, it starts to become usual.
It's Assassin's
Ubisoft
Creed.
fare. Yeah, and I was like, "Oh, okay, it's kind of losing me here." And I think that's it from like the main games.
Okay,
Can't think of anything else. Yeah,
fair enough. So yeah, I mean, I've also dipped into Hitman, but I'll come to that in a moment. Have you tried the new map yet?
I haven't. I'm still trying. There's so much content in the old stuff that I refuse to touch the new stuff until I've gone through the old stuff. And of course, you know me. I'm not the kind of person who like just does.
Well, you're not a one and done man, are you?
I killed the 2 targets. No, I got to do all the discoveries. I got to do all the features. I got to do I got to do the whole thing. So it's taken me a while to get through each level.
Fair enough. So yeah, I'll come to Gary next. What have you been playing, my good man?
So I've been playing bits and pieces on the Xbox. I finally started Halo Infinite.
Okay.
I've been meaning to play it for ages, just never got round to it. I've probably only played like an hour of it so far, but it's what I expected, really. It's more Halo. I've never really been a massive Halo guy, but I respect it for what it is. It essentially changed the sort of landscape in that genre back on the original Xbox. So yeah, I've been playing a little bit of that. Also TMNT Shredder's Revenge. I've played about 2 hours of that as well. That's great fun. That is. I need to sit down and play more of that, because I can potentially see that being up there in my sort of Game of the Year sort of nominations, because I love the retro vibe of it, but it's also sort of modernizing its controls and stuff like that. So, and the story seems good, the music, that is really cool. But the main game I've been playing is Stray. Wow, that is a great game. When I originally see it, a cat playing as a cat, I thought, okay, this looks interesting. But once you sort of play it, I was sort of blown away by how well it plays. The story is great. It's got humor. They've even done Easter eggs for the way cats act in real life. They've thrown them in there, and it all sort of ties together with this great little story. Very heartwarming as well. So yeah, I had great fun with that. I downloaded it because obviously the new sort of PlayStation Plus subscriptions. I've done a 7-day trial.
Yeah.
Done it easily within those 7 days. I need to go back and get the rest of the trophies because I've heard the platinum is quite an enjoyable one. So, but yeah, that is a great game. My only slight criticism with it is I know you can do it on PC through mods. Is the fact that I would have thought they would have added some sort of like cat creator at the start where you could, because
that would
cats
cool.
and dogs, pets, for example, are very sort of relatable to you and the sort of colours of your animal. That would have been cool if you could essentially create your cat. But I get why they didn't do it. They're an indie developed studio, so obviously they're sort of limited in what they can do. But apart from that very small nitpick, that's a really, really good game, and it's actually up there for my game of the year so far. Obviously, we've still got a lot to come, but yeah, I had so much fun with that game. It's really good, and it's not one of those games that goes on and on and on. It's short, but it's a good short. It's very enjoyable. There's no sort of bit in the middle. A lot of games, obviously, you get that part in the middle where it's just like it feels like a bit filler.
Yeah.
But this game, it's got a good runtime all the way through. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's definitely worth checking out.
Yeah, it's really
The runtime. So how long did it take you to finish?
Oh, blimey. I couldn't actually tell you. I could actually if I looked on my PlayStation. I don't know how long it did.
It took me, I think, just under 6 hours.
Okay, so it is relatively short.
I was going to say 5, but say 6, yeah. But it's not. It's short, but I think it's a good length for that game. I think if it was too long, like a 12-hour experience, I think it might have diluted it a bit. I think it's perfect, and I think that I'm hoping that they'll do a sequel because that is very unique. That game.
Would you recommend it to like the general gamer, or would you need to be into a specific type of game to enjoy this type?
No,
because I haven't touched it yet, so I'm curious what your thoughts are on it.
It's kind of like it's a bit of an adventure, isn't it? It's not. If you're going in like expecting an action game with loads of combat and stuff, then you're not going to get that. But it's a very story heavy, adventure driven game with there's loads of just, I don't like using the term, but loads of like lore all around the place. There's just loads of stuff happening in the world. Like you can essentially wander about and you'll find you'll find something written on the wall that you can then translate using your little robot buddy, which then gives you a little bit more backstory and insight into the world. Normally, I'm not into that, but I've been playing Stray as well, and I've really gotten into it. I think it's so well crafted and it's just so dense with so much stuff going on.
Yeah, I think this game is for everyone because it's not a difficult game. There's a couple of tricky moments with it, but nothing where it gets frustrating. So I think anyone could pick this up and play it. And obviously it's got the whole cute cat sort of vibe to it. It's beautiful looking as well, I must say. Like the sort of neon sort of cyberpunk look it's got in certain areas is beautiful. I think it's going to do very well, I think, in a lot of people's sort of game of the year lists. Obviously, still got more to come, and there's bigger budgeted games up that we've already had and upcoming or whatever. But for a sort of a first game from an indie studio, it shocked me how good it was.
I mean, I'll sort of pick that up because Stray is one of the games that I've been playing recently. I actually did the platinum trophy in it over the weekend as well. Like there's like a speedrun trophy, so you can, if you can finish the game in under 2 hours, you get the speedrun trophy. And I managed to do it in 1 hour and 41 minutes, I think. So I was, if you know where you're going and what you're doing, then you can just like bomb through that entire game. It would have been even quicker, but you can't skip the cutscenes. So.
Oh wow, okay.
But yeah, like it's just such a beautiful game. Like you said, Gary, with the Easter eggs and the sort of detail of even down to the cat. Like if you ever tried to put a harness on a cat, the first time you put a harness on,
that's hilarious.
It just kind of like sinks into the floor and like drags its back legs all the time. And when you get like the harness with your little robot dude for the first time, you see the cat do that, and it's just like, oh, that's a cool touch. But like, yeah,
that really made me laugh when I see that.
Yeah. And then like you just go around and there's little scratching posts everywhere, and you just kind of claw at sofas and walls and rugs and stuff. But yeah, there's a really good story to be found in there, and I loved it. I think the way that they've managed to weave the narrative in without having voice acting, I think, is the key thing, because like there is voice acting, but it's kind of gibberish. So it's a lot of text. But it's not a chore to read. I think the only thing I would criticize it for is that the skip dialogue and end conversation buttons are different. So it's square to skip through the dialogue, and then it's circle to end the conversation, which is a bit weird, but like, yeah, that's a minor nitpick. But yeah, I mean, I played it on PS5. It runs beautifully on PS5, solid 60 all the way through. I believe.
Oh, actually, did you? There was one section in the game where the frame rate dropped, I reckon, to about 25.
Okay.
I don't know if I want to mention which part it is. It's not really spoilerish.
There was a couple of little little drops.
The worst one I had was in the room where you have to do the puzzle with like the robotic sort of cubes. And in the middle of the room there is like the cylinder with the battery in it.
Yeah.
That was brutal in there. It really did drop.
Okay.
But it wasn't all the time. It was sort of once every sort of 5 minutes or so.
Okay.
But that's obviously easily patchable. So
yeah,
I'd imagine that they've probably already done that. So
yeah, I think on the whole, it didn't really have too many issues for me. And like you said, it looks bloody lovely when you go out onto the rooftops and you've got like all of the neon signs that are collapsing or are flickering, and the way that they do signposting in that game is brilliant. Like when you're in the starting areas, like there's bits of signs that have arrows on them and stuff that kind of subtly point you in a direction, so you don't get lost, but it's not over the top saying you need to go here. It's just so well done. And to be honest, any button that's got a dedicated any game that's got a dedicated meow button deserves Game of the Year for sure.
But believe it or not, that was my first trophy because I was like just kept on pressing it. It was just like what is the trophy? It's something like meow like 200 times or something, right? Something like that, 100 times or 200. And I just kept on pressing it, and then it just popped up. I was like, shit, I should stop pressing it.
That's
funny.
It is my second favourite button prompt of all time. Like press circle to meow is just it's brilliant. My first is press RB to time travel from Titanfall 2 because that's still brilliant. And there we go, obligatory Titanfall 2 mention, and it's only 15 minutes into the podcast. So I've also been playing a few more things. I picked up Shredder's Revenge from Game Pass as well. I've been playing a lot of that. Echo your thoughts. It's fantastic. It looks beautiful. Like the pixel art style, when it's done right, is fantastic. And yeah, it's got that old school arcade feel to it, without being overly punishing on the difficulty that I'm playing it at. But obviously there are higher difficulties. I'm yet to do any multiplayer with it, so I want to get some multiplayer on the go and see how handles it, because it looks like it's going to be a hell of a lot of fun. Also jumped back into Hitman 3 with the new Ambrose Island, I believe it's called, the DLC. There was a free update for it with a new map, some new targets, and an activity that you find, almost like a bit of a mini game, that you find on the island, where you slap the ever-loving shit out of people. It's brilliant. It's like a slapping contest in the game, and you find somebody, you just basically go up, and then that leads to inevitably an opportunity. But yeah, that's good fun. I killed someone dressed as a pirate, which, Hitman,
as you do.
yeah. I've also got As Dusk Falls from the Game Pass library, which is that kind of hand-painted, like choose your own adventure kind of game, a bit like Detroit Become Human, that kind of a game. But the art style in it is absolutely gorgeous. I think I'm about 3/4 of the way through it at the moment, and I think the first half of the game is definitely a lot stronger than the second half. They very much front load it. I'm not going to give anything away because obviously it's a narrative game. But there is a big event that the whole first half revolves around. And yeah, I'm finding that a lot. I found that a lot more engaging than I'm finding the second half. So bit of a shame, because I'd really like to. I really want to finish it off, but there's nothing at this point that's really pulling me back to it. So I'll have to jump on that and see. But yeah, lots of games coming out shortly. I think the rest of the month sees. Well, as we're recording this today, we've got what's it called? Turbo Golf Extreme or something. It's basically the Rocket League with golf. That's
Turbo Golf.
It's Turbo Golf something. Yeah. I'll put the thing there somewhere. That's out today on Game Pass. Then obviously we've got 2 Point Hospital coming next week. No, 2 Point Campus coming next week. Sorry, that's also coming to Game Pass. And then a few more games coming before the end of the month when Saints Row is dropping. So looking forward to all of those. I'm especially looking forward to Saints Row, seeing what they've done with it. But we'll move into the news, because it's been kind of quiet. I think it's probably in the run up to Gamescom. There's not a huge amount of official stories coming out. But there've been a few things that have come out over the past couple of weeks. The first one we're going to talk about is to do with the Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake, which was announced. Oh, when was it? It was last September, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I can't actually remember when it was.
Was it a state of play? I think they initially said they were hoping to have it potentially released at the end of this year. Obviously, that's not happened. But now, the rumor. Well, it's been reported by Bloomberg, so usually a fairly reliable source of information. They've stated that the Knights of the Old Republic remake has reportedly been paused, with the future of the game said to be up in the air. So one Bloomberg source, suggested too much time and money had been invested in the demo, and a more realistic release window would now be 2025. There's not a huge amount more in terms of any official news. They've suggested that Saber Interactive now could take over the developments from Aspire, and it's going to be a while before we see the KOTOR remake. Aaron, I'll come to you first. What's your initial reaction to this? And were you excited to hear that they were remaking KOTOR in the first place?
I've not actually played the original, so the amount of people laud on this damn game, I was waiting to see it so I could see how freaking awesome it is. Because honestly, I've not I've not played the original. It's a bit worrying that they this has happened. How long in development has it been? Like 3 years or something?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, like
something like that.
at this point to have what studio heads removed, like it's a bit late in the game to be like, how's nobody realized the game was trending in the wrong direction up until this point? I guess COVID can that can be laid at COVID's feet a little bit, but even so, it's still rather worrying that it's happened this late in the game. I'm curious what exactly was the issue. I'd love to see this demo and how bad it is that they've just literally axed their studio heads.
Yeah.
But hopefully, I mean, they've made the right decision, right? If it's something that terminal, delaying it is the best thing to do. You don't want to release something, especially not of this caliber. As I said, there's a lot of people who love this game, the original, and you kind of wanted to do right by them. You don't want to piss gamers off at this point. We've had a lot of shitty situations happen over the past couple of years, so yeah, interesting.
Yeah, I mean, Gary, I remember, I think at the time we discussed it and said that we were both quite excited for it.
Yeah, like Aaron though, I've never played the original, but I'm anything Star Wars, I sort of magnetized towards. But yeah, this sounds like it's in the mud, to be honest. Obviously, two sort of people leaving, and like Aaron said, it's been in development for like 3 years. It just seems like if they, it does make you wonder. Like, surely someone should have early on gone, right, this isn't the direction we want. Why leave it that long? It's just ridiculous. And if they're that against what has happened with the game and the direction it's taken, then and they're going to completely start again, then that's going to be a long time before we see anything of this. It sort of reminds me of the Beyond Good and Evil from Ubisoft that was announced back in like 2018 or whatever it was.
Yep. And
like, that's it. No one's really heard much since. It's very similar to that, but obviously this is a lot further along than that was at the time. Yeah, it's weird, this. I don't really know what to make, but it does to me sound like it could be a while before anything even happens with this. Because it's obviously been delayed / paused. But yeah, I'd like to be a fly on the wall in the boardroom just to see what was said about this, because it's very, very sort of weird and mysterious. But yeah, I mean, it happens, I suppose. So.
Yeah, I mean, the fact is that you've got they put a demo together according to the report, where basically they put a demo of the game to sit in a room and show to Sony and Lucasfilm. Like, if there are two companies that you don't want to try and pull the wool over, it's those two. Like, you know, and the fact that you know, as I mentioned, the demo was shown, and basically it seems to have been so bad that the studio head and the games director and the art director were both fired basically on the spot. So like, what? Something's not right there, and I would love to see anything in terms of a leak or a build or something of that demo, just to see exactly what went wrong.
Like one or the other, so like game director, you'd be like, okay, cool, something fundamental to the game mechanics of the game. But then the art director too means that like the whole artistic direction of the game seems to be. So like, what about this game was heading in the right sound design? Like, what was heading in the right direction? It seems seems a bit weird. Yeah, you know.
I mean, to be fair, you can't really go too far wrong with Star Wars sound. You get John Williams, you get phew, and you get like pew pews, and you're all good.
Yeah,
this kind of reminds me of the what's like Batwoman got cancelled recently.
Oh, Batgirl, yeah,
Batgirl. So they lost 70 million now. And like, this seems to be a theme around entertainment right now, where people are just investing lots of money into
loads of rumors,
things people don't want.
I'll say loads of rumors as well. I think HBO Max are going to be cutting loads of content that was on there just to put it in as a tax write-off. It's like, Jesus Christ, like hundreds of millions of dollars just being pissed away at the moment.
That's completely going. There's like over 1,000 people losing their jobs, I think, from HBO Max because of
absolutely
ridiculous.
mental. But they're still going full steam ahead with the Flash movie. Anyway, we will move on because that is a rabbit hole that I'm not going to go down. The other big news, obviously at the moment, the Activision Blizzard takeover by Microsoft is still kind of under regulatory investigation in America, and essentially Sony and other companies, I think Amazon, Google, Ubisoft, and a few other development studios they had some questions asked of them, and I believe it was in Brazil. Oh yeah, here we go. So it was in Brazil. So the Brazilian regulatory body. Sony's response was kind of interesting. They said a lot of it was about Call of Duty, and they said here large portions highlight the importance of the PlayStation firm puts in Call of Duty, a franchise which it claims influences console choice. So influences users' console choice. In its questionnaire, Sony questions or calls Call of Duty an essential game, a blockbuster, a AAA game that has no rival. And it basically says Call of Duty is so popular that it influenced the console of choice, or choice of console, sorry, and its community of loyal users is entrenched, entrenched enough that even if a competitor had the budget to develop a similar product, it would not be able to rival it. And basically, yeah, they go on to say like Call of Duty is massive. If it goes exclusive, it's basically gonna influence a lot of consumers to go over to Microsoft. Thus reducing competition because yada yada yada. But I mean, Microsoft then came out and said that Call of Duty, in the reasoning that they filed, they've said that Call of Duty isn't necessarily unique, which they're kind of telling the truth, but also disguising it at the same time. I mean, you've got your own opinions of Call of Duty, think what you want, but there is no denying that it is a massive franchise, and it does shift consoles. Like when a new game when new one comes out, a lot of the time you'll see it bundled with systems and all the rest of it. But yeah, I think Microsoft sort of saying it's not unique, it's not its own bubble, is a bit misleading, because it is essentially saying like, oh, YouTube's not unique because there are other video streaming websites on the internet. But you think video on the internet, you think YouTube. Like a lot of people outside of our circles, they'll think gaming, they'll think Call of Duty. It's kind of that's how it works. But Gary, I'll come to you. Like, what was your take on this? Because it's that kind of it's almost like a bit of a play by Sony to potentially block the move, do you think?
I think they're trying to do that. Whether or not they will be successful in doing that is another thing. Yeah, my first sort of thought with this was, yeah, I know Call of Duty is still a massive IP. It's got that brand that everyone knows. Is it as big as it used to be? I don't believe it is. I think you can see like the sales every year are slightly going down. Obviously, it still sells millions and millions and millions. But the one sort of thing here, though, is Xbox haven't actually come out yet and said that it's exclusive, right? I haven't missed that, have I?
No, it's the opposite. Phil Spencer stated that it was his intention to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation platforms once the acquisition is complete. However, it then came out and said Activision Blizzard is contractually obliged to releasing only the next 3 Call of Duty games for PlayStation consoles, including this year's Modern Warfare 2. So there's some ambiguity there as to saying, like Phil Spencer saying, "Oh yeah, we'll keep it on PlayStation." Then they're turning around and saying, "Well, is that going to be just for the length of that contract?"
Yeah, I get people how they would get to that point, but I personally can't see that happening. I think obviously they've got to stick to their contract with Activision. That's obvious. But I think after that, I personally believe that we'll still see Call of Duty on PlayStation. I think we've discussed this in the past. I think there'd be some exclusivity with Xbox, maybe like, I don't know, like the Battle Royale side of it. I don't know. But I just can't see it not being, because Microsoft aren't stupid, Xbox aren't stupid. They know that they will make an absolute killing off Sony because of the game itself. So, yeah, I know some of us are, yeah, it's going to be exclusive. Others are, no, it's not going to be. I know we sort of split across that, but it seems a bit from Sony at the moment that it's a bit clutching at straws. Maybe I'm being a bit harsh on that, but I don't know. I just can't really see whatever they do. I can't see it being stopped anyway, to be honest.
No, it's fair enough. Aaron, what about your thoughts on it?
I agree with Gary in that I don't think it's going to go exclusive anytime soon, but does that really matter? As a company, as the opposition, you want this to not be a possibility at all, right? Like you want to consistently be able to bring in a certain amount of money over a certain period for investors and whatnot. So I see why Sony are doing it, whether they can get away with it, like trying to stop the whole deal based on one game. When there's so many different titles involved in the deal, it seems like it might not be enough. But again, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not part of the system, so it'd be interesting. I'm glad I don't have to make that decision. Sides are coming from, honestly, and I don't think there's necessarily a right or wrong in relation to this particular game. As Gary says, like, Call of Duty is dropping off, but they came back with the latest one, the re-release of the remake of Call of Duty Modern Warfare, and it seems to be incredibly popular. It's bringing in loads of money, and obviously Sony are used to having their exclusivity deals and whatnot. Like, there's so many things up in the air, so I can completely understand on both sides. It's just, we'll just have to see what happens. I can see it still going through, though. I can't see this not going through as a deal. But we'll see.
Yeah, no, I'm in agreement. I think I think it will go through. And I think
I think the argument here is, from, if I was Xbox, they could turn around and say, well, Bungie has always been associated with Xbox before it went multiplat. Destiny is now owned by Sony. I know you can't compare Destiny. Sorry, Nico. You can't compare Destiny and Call of Duty, but it sort of works the same way, right? So yeah, I think it is a bit clutching at straws. But I also, like Aaron said, I also see the sort of logic from both sides. But yeah,
I mean, I think the most obvious comparison with this is you look at what happened when Microsoft bought Mojang. They bought Minecraft, like the biggest fucking game on the planet, and it would have been really easy for them to just say, right, that's it, it's only on Xbox. But they didn't, because they know that revenue stream's there. So whether they'll do that with Call of Duty, I don't know. I would expect some Activision games in the future to be, Xbox exclusive. I think we'll certainly see a lot more exclusives from the likes of Bethesda, and obviously, like the smaller in quotes titles from Activision will potentially be Xbox exclusive. But it is wild to me to see the way that the pendulum swung over the generations for this, because like you remember with the Modern Warfare 2 reveal, and like around that sort of time, Xbox was the platform. You'd get the DLC there first, you'd get the map packs there first, you'd get all of the stuff was on Xbox, and then after a while, like the PS4 became the platform of choice, and then they swung back over to there, and it's, I think, even up until last year, I believe, with Vanguard, I think, had like a PlayStation exclusive deal in there where you'd get some maps and stuff early, and now it's completely swung back the other way because Microsoft just gone, right, fuck it, I'm going to buy them. So I don't know. It's a really interesting topic, and I just think it's going to be. I mean, I can't see them denying the move, because ultimately it's not like it's not like, for example, Microsoft buying Sony and there only being one console manufacturer, of
Yeah.
no disrespect to Nintendo, but like there is only one like high-end console manufacturer. Like it's the software, it's the games, and like, yes, people will argue till the cows come home that Sony have bought Santa Monica, or Sony owns Santa Monica, so why can't they release God of War on Xbox or whatever? But like, it's that argument that we had with the Bethesda deal, where like it's a previously what's the word I'm looking for? Previously multi-platform game and franchise going to a single one, and is that going to be fair? And all of those discussions, but yeah.
Fucking hell, if
yeah, go on, Aaron.
I was just going to say, if Disney can buy half of media online, then this should be fine going through. It's like crazy.
Disney buying Sony, you heard it here first.
My worry was always not necessarily this deal, just that this deal might set a trend for the future of
the
whole business, and we don't want two mega corporations owning all the games. I think that's bad. I said it before, and I'll maintain it. I think it's a terrible idea, but as I said, the only negative can be that if this goes through, there is no other rivaling software house in gaming that won't be able to be bought. You know what I'm saying? This will set the trend, and they'll just go, well, that got bought. Why can't I buy this?
Yeah.
That's my only worry.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think at this point, if the deal goes through, which it's looking likely that it will, you've then got essentially what, in terms of the big publishers, you've basically got Ubisoft, EA.
Yeah.
That's it. In terms of the big deals, the AAA games, if you like.
Yeah.
The third-party ones, I don't think there's many more.
Yeah.
Not on that scale, no. Not that I can think
obviously,
of.
Obviously, you've got the likes of 2K, but they're sort of split divisions or whatever. But that's that. Yeah, now you've said that, fucking hell.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think of 2K, and obviously you're right there, because they will have, under that banner, they've got all the 2K Sports, they've got Rockstar, technically, so that's
true.
That's a good one.
But the question is, how long are they going to be owned as they are now?
I don't know. It's wild times in video games, man. Onto some fun stuff, because games, video games, all of them. We've got some new games coming to Game Pass. We've got some new games coming to PS Plus. So we've got the August game lineup for Game Pass. We have Cooking Simulator.
Fucking hell. Oh man!
I just was not expecting that reaction.
Wait. There's been a game recently, I can't remember what it's called, where you literally just clean stuff. So after that,
Power Wash Simulator.
I think everything's fair game after that. Like, it's literally people power cleaning stuff.
Mate, Power Wash Simulator is brilliant.
And then people are telling me like, "Oh man, it's so satisfying." I'm like, okay, okay, if you say so.
I spent an hour cleaning a motherfucker's yard that wasn't even my yard in a video game.
Yeah. And is your yard clean?
Nope. It's like we have literally come full circle to that Simpsons meme, haven't we? Where it's like, yard cutting simulator in VR. Yeah. The whole thing. Oh man, it's fucking mental. Also that's coming to cloud, console, and PC. We also have Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Wildlands, which is also cloud, console, and PC. I believe those two are both out now. As is Turbo Golf Racing. That's the one I was thinking of.
That's it.
That is on cloud, PC, and Series X and S, so it's not on Xbox One. And then coming either now or later this month, I can't remember off the top of my head, we've got is it Expeditions Rome? No idea. Off-World Trading Company and Shenzhen IO. So that is, I think, pretty much everything that's currently out. But also coming next week, I believe next Tuesday, is 2 Point Campus. Now, I'm looking forward to 2 Point Campus. Full disclaimer on this. I completely forgot, given everything else that's gone on in the world recently with us. It slipped my mind, and I forgot to request review code for it. But by all accounts, the reviews came out today, and it looks really nice. I loved 2 Point Hospital. I love what they did with it. So, any of those take your fancy, Aaron?
I can't say they do off the top, but I'm always open to new experiences. So I'm sure one of you guys will tell me, like, "Oh, this game is amazing," and then it will be tried. So we can't complain.
Cooking simulator.
Yeah, there we go. I'll now have to play the power cleaning game now. Now that Ben has recommended it, it is what it is.
It's not just me. Kieran likes it as well, so I'm gonna go on that. What about yourself, Gary? You gonna give any of these a go?
Yeah, definitely 2 Point Campus. That looks great, and I sort of checked out a few reviews earlier, and from what I see, it's very positive. But probably out of all of them, to be honest, is Turbo Golf Racing. It's Rocket League with golf, basically. So what can go wrong? It looks good fun. Obviously, it's going to be one of them: play for 10 minutes, put it down; play for another 20 minutes, put it down. But yeah. Like, Rocket League's amazing, and this looks just as good, so give that a go. And it's Game Pass, right? So
yeah,
can't really moan about that. So
yeah, I mean, that's kind of where we're at now. Like, I'm paid up for another year of Game Pass, I believe, and then I've got, with the new internet connection that I'm getting in the house, like, that's going to be another year that I get as a bonus with that. So I'm not going to have to pay for an Xbox game for another 2 years at this point. Which is, I will.
When?
Yeah, I'll play whatever I want, up from that catalog for a good while. It's just, yeah, I know that the discussion's there, and Andy's probably on the other end of his headphones screeching, going game ownership. But I would much sooner pay what is it, £10 a month? I'd happily pay that £10 a month or £100 a year to have access to a bunch of games, particularly in this generation where they're quick to download. And if a game does sort of roll off the service, by the time it's rolled off the service, it's probably going to be at a discount. So I'll more than likely see it's dropping off the service, go like, oh cool, they offer a discount anyway for buying it and picking it up that way. But I mean, I've said it before, say it again, Game Pass is just the best deal in gaming at the minute.
I think I'll sit on the fence between that, you and Andy, and that right now it's amazing. Obviously, you just get to willy-nilly dip in, dip out of any game you want. But I can see the argument what Andy's making for the future.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%.
Yeah,
I can see it becoming a problem, but we'll deal with that when we get to it, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I've had the thought before where it's like, oh yeah, cool, I'm playing all these games now, but in 10 or 15 years when I want to dig my Xbox Series X out and don't have access to Game Pass anymore because it doesn't exist, what am I going to play on it? Am I going to have to go and buy a bunch of games from eBay and do it that way? But for the situation, go on, Gary.
Yeah, no, you finish and then I sort of say my piece or whatever.
I was going to say, for how it is at the moment with the generation as it is, and particularly with the quality of titles they're putting out on there, it's perfect for most people, I think.
Yeah, what I was going to say is if we recently, obviously the whole kerfuffle with the Vita digital store, that sort of people kicked off a fuss about that. And even some of the sort of older Nintendo consoles where you can't access the sort of digital content, it's worrying, like Aaron said. So yeah, in the future you might have essentially, in the future you might have a console, say, I don't know, a Wii or a Wii U, which is essentially a plastic weight because you can't really do much with it.
Yeah, but what about if you
So,
can't access games on it?
yeah.
Surely it's just going to be worse. Hey. Sorry.
Fuck.
I'm gonna get
one-
a punch from Andy next time I see him, because he'll no doubt say that the Wii U was a great console.
To be fair,
Depends on your
it's got some good
perspective,
games, but
right?
yeah, it's not a great
If
console.
you enjoyed the games, then the console was great, right? Like, it's one of those things. But yeah, there's a lot of current examples of where Game Pass could be a bad thing in the future. And like as Gary gave examples, I was trying to throw another one on the pile with Ubisoft, and they're like decommissioning big parts of games that are on their servers and only on their servers, and it's like you can't play multiplayer now on some of their titles. I can't remember the exact titles, but these are worrying signs for like.
So didn't they
these
try
digital
and
only.
didn't they try and cut off access to people that had paid for an Assassin's Creed game recently?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
That's like,
it's just as I said, like I mean. The argument would be like, well, that's Ubisoft, and like Microsoft got loads of money, and they'll never do that to us.
I mean,
you never know what the future holds. You never know what the future holds, man. Like
they absolutely will. Because ultimately, yeah, like nothing's going to last forever. Like, you know, you're not going to.
No.
I would strongly doubt that in 15 or 20 years' time, you know, because let's see how it is. Like in 15 years' time, like that's what the gap between now and when the PS3 came out, or was PS3 was in its, you know, in its generation. So you're going to be looking at a PS3 game now and saying, "Oh, cool, yeah, I wouldn't mind playing that." So you get your console out, you've got the discs. So like, cool. The patches may still be available, but are you seriously telling me that, you know, some of the lesser titles, shall we say, on Game Pass are going to be kept on those servers in 20 years' time? Like, you know,
yeah.
But
Series S in digital PS5, for example, like in 30 years, what's to say you might not be able to actually do anything with them, which is worrying. But
100%. I mean, you know, people will always find a way to do it. Like there's people that have recreated a PS4 storefront or PS3 storefront on, you know, a standalone machine, and they basically put a load of ISOs on that, and then you can access that by changing your DNS settings on your PS3, so that you can find your own little mini PS store, if you like, which in its own is crazy, and like hats off to the guys that do that. But yeah, game preservation is a real problem. We should probably do something about that at some point. Not us like fix the problem. I mean, us like do a big thing about talking about it, because I've got no idea what the solution is. But yeah, the other side of it, if you are a Team Blue customer, or you have a PS5 or a PS4, the PS Plus games for August are now live, which include Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2, PS5 and PS4, Yakuza Like a Dragon for PS5 and PS4, and Little Nightmares can be claimed if you are a subscriber on the Essential tier, which is the base tier. So, yeah, three absolutely solid games. If you've not played Tony Hawk's 1 and 2 remake, like, you should. It's as simple as that. I never paid.
That's a decent month, that.
Yeah, it's a really good month. I never bought the PS5 upgrade for Tony Hawk's, and I'm glad now that I didn't, because I can technically get it for free, I think.
That's so a modern day problem. Like the amount of times I've bought a game and it's like, oh, you motherfucker, what are you doing on this service? Just wasting money. I could have waited a month.
Yeah.
That's definitely a current problem. But yeah, these games definitely look solid. I second that.
Yeah. So yeah, solid month. I mean, I've had, full disclosure, like I got given a copy of Yakuza Like a Dragon, and the Xbox launched. We got like I got like a little booklet which had a bunch of codes in it for the Series X, and it said like, cool, here are some games that you can play on your Series X. Some before launch, some after launch. It was a very weird time. Like, I got a code for like the big full ass like mega DLC version of Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I was like, oh cool, I can get loads of footage of this before the console comes out. Nope, wasn't allowed to access it before launch day. So that was a weird one.
Damn.
But yeah, I got a copy of Yakuza Like a Dragon, but again, I haven't touched it. Like, it's a massive game, and I've just never really thought, right, I'm going to set some time aside and play that game, but probably should at some point because everyone says the Yakuza games are amazing. And I haven't played a Yakuza game since 3, I think, back on PS3. So probably should do. Although they have said that PS Plus is arriving. PS Plus is getting 8 Yakuza games this year. And I believe that includes Like a Dragon. So, yeah, you basically, if you want to get caught up on the Yakuza franchise, now's your chance. Cool. We've got 3 more bits of news. First one is a very interesting one with Crystal Dynamics. They've filed a DMCA request with Patreon, of all places, because somebody got hold of a script, and the script was apparently for a new Tomb Raider game. Now, if there is any way that you can confirm something is legitimate, you can file a DMCA claim. So this was on Colin Moriarty's podcast. I mean, say what you like about Colin Moriarty. I'm not, particularly a fan these days. He was asked by Patreon to remove the section where he talked about this script. And according to the alleged script, the next Tomb Raider is internally known as Project Jawbreaker and is described as an action-adventure game set in a modern-day world rocked by a mysterious cataclysm. So,
Milton Keynes, then.
The whole game's just Lara Croft on a bike going around roundabouts. Jesus Christ. So yeah, Gary, I'll throw it to you straight away, Gary, because are you excited for another Tomb Raider? Let's put it that way.
I'm going to throw a question back to you. Am I dreaming this? But I could have sworn they announced a Tomb Raider recently, right?
I
could have swore Crystal Dynamics announced.
I want to say that you're right.
All it was the logo, if I remember.
I want to say that you're right. Yes, they did. Yes. Developer Crystal Dynamics announced that the next Tomb Raider game had entered development using UE5 earlier this year.
That's it. Yeah.
So it's
I
more
don't really have.
I say it's more that the script leaked, which is a bit of a weird.
Yeah. Was it the whole script? Do we know, or was it just parts of it? Or
well, it says
if it was the whole. I suppose.
Yeah, it says that it was essentially used to be used for casting. So whether that was a portion of it, I don't know.
Okay.
So yeah. Are you excited for it?
The fact. Yeah. I liked the sort of reboots, if you want to call them that, of like was there 3 of them, right? Yeah. Not so much the Rise of Tomb Raider, but the middle one I really enjoyed, and the first one.
The middle one was Rise, because it was it Tomb Raider, Rise of the Tomb Raider, and then Shadow of the Tomb Raider.
Shadow, yeah. Shadow was still good, but it wasn't as good as Rise, I don't think, personally. More Tomb Raider is always a good thing. I think they're good games. And the fact that it's running on UE5, which would be exciting to see. It's going to be a while, I think. This seems to be the sort of ongoing thing with games. Obviously, they're huge sort of blockbuster hits, so it's going to be a while before we see this. But yeah, the fact that they have asked them to remove this, like you say, it sort of screams that it's legit. So but yeah, always excited for a new Tomb Raider.
Cool. Aaron, have you fired much of the Tomb Raider games up other than to benchmark your system? Because I know that's what Shadow's good for.
So I'm traditionally a Tomb Raider fan, but I am currently 2 games behind. So I only played the original reboot.
Okay.
Way back, whenever the hell that came out. Somebody needs to get both of these games on their free games list for whatever month, so I can play them for free and not have to pay. I mean, they're relatively cheap these days, but I mean, I'm a tight kid, so I don't want to pay. Yeah, like, this looks like it'll be a good. Well, from the previous one that I played, it seems like there's a good series. People will enjoy playing them. If I ever catch up, I will be looking forward to this. It's I'm curious though, like, so what was this podcast taken down just because they spoke about it, or did he actually read the script
He
on there?
he actually read the script.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
I was about to say, what the hell if they only just spoke about it? But okay, fair enough. Yeah, it is what it is. You took the risk. It is what it is.
Yeah, I mean it's a weird one. Like I really liked. I think I'm with you, Gary. Like I preferred Rise. I think that was an absolutely superb game. And if I remember rightly, it was because that was the one that everybody got really confused about, wasn't it? In the Xbox conference, because they used the wording of like console launch exclusive, and everyone was kind of going, "Well, does that mean it's only ever going to be on Xbox?" And yeah, I remember getting an Xbox One for that among other titles. But yeah, like that was definitely an early factor in getting my Xbox One. So there you go. So only complain about that. Right.
Yeah, because I think that had like a 2-year exclusivity on Xbox.
Yeah, it was a long window.
Did finally come to PS4, but at that point everyone was like, I've moved on to other stuff, so it probably didn't. I don't think it sold very well, to be honest, on the PS4. But yeah,
no. So there we go. I'll tell you what, we've got two more. The first one is the new Pokemon Scarlet and Violet trailer. Basically, you're going to be able to ride legendary Pokemon.
Hey.
Get your mind out of the gutter, you filthy bastards. Is this something that people have been crying out for? I don't know, because I haven't played a Pokemon game in a very long time. So I'm going to defer to Aaron on this one. Is this something that people have wanted?
I'm even going to attempt to speak for the Pokemon fandom. I do not want to be slaughtered and crucified. But I skimmed over the trailer. It didn't seem to be as a trailer, it didn't seem to be showcasing the things that they're making a fuss about, like the whole like 4 people exploring and whatnot. There wasn't much of that in the trailer. Maybe I missed it because I did only skim about it. But I feel like you should be advertising that. That's the new stuff. Like 100%. Advertise to the old guard who obviously want something new. Otherwise, it just kind of just looks like your own generic Pokemon game.
Yeah,
and that's not going to draw anybody in who isn't already in. Do you know what I mean?
Very true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean
that's all I got.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Gary, are you being swayed by any of the stuff you're seeing for Scarlet and Violet?
No, not really, to be honest.
Moving
I spoke to my I spoke to my friend. He's like an avid Pokemon fan, and even he said he's probably going to miss these two because there's just nothing that sort of entices him in. Yeah, I think at this point that they obviously make good games. They make great games, but I think that's all. Well, you can agree to disagree if you want. It's very much seems a bit like a cash grab at this point. Maybe that's just me. I don't know, but
I see where you're coming from. Like, you know, we've had a big Pokemon game this year with Legends, so I almost want to say, do we need another one? And I'm very much aware that I'm going to get absolutely hammered for that.
Yeah, I think the Pokemon fans are like, what are you talking about? Of course we need a new one. But again, I just feel like they should spend more time advertising the new stuff, the new features that will get people excited. It seemed like this trailer was just a bit cut, and not spending time on the stuff that would actually grab people's attention. And that's maybe why you're getting the idea it's a cash grab. I honestly don't know. It sounds like it could be a cool Pokemon game, but if you're not going to advertise those things that would make it different from the one that recently just came out, then people are just going to look at it and be like, well, this just looks the same.
I'll give him credit though. There is a new Pokemon which is a small dog made out of bread, and he's called Fido.
That's amazing.
That is pretty cool. To be fair, people are losing their mind online about that.
Yeah, I think,
Like,
is it
really,
Fido?
really excited. Yeah, but it's
Fido,
obviously it's
spelt
like a play on sort of
Dough.
words.
Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah, which is cool.
I saw an awesome pun that I cannot remember off the top of my head, but it was basically it should evolve into something like shuro or something. And it was CHOUX dash, and the rest of it was like, mwah, perfect. Yeah,
I do like the box art for them for the both games though. That's a good box art. That
indeed, I think they always tend to do that quite well. But
Mm.
but right, the final story for the week. It has been confirmed by Valve that Insomniac's Spider-Man Remastered is Steam Deck verified. So if you have a Steam Deck, you will be able to play the game on your Steam Deck, on the go, on the train. I mean, we're living in a world where like one of the best looking PS4 exclusives is now going to be playable in a device that's like this big.
that's what
It's mad.
that article makes me laugh. It calls the Steam Deck handheld. Debatable.
I mean, it's a big switch, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, like the specs for Spider-Man Remastered are pretty beefy. If you want to play on like 4K 60 frames a second, it basically suggests that you need an RTX 3070 or and a Core i5 or a Ryzen 5 3600. If you want to go up to 4K 60 with ray tracing enabled, you will need a 3080 and a 5900X or an i7 12700K, which is basically saying you've got to have the latest and greatest. So
that's interesting. It must be quite a step up then, because I remember playing this game and it was a good looking game. It wasn't that good looking. I mean, yeah. So
have you seen the updates they've managed to do for the PS5 on it?
No.
I will say they're impressive. Like, even if it's just, and this is a thing that I am going to be very interested to see. Things like the fast travel, like on the PS5, the fast travel is just instant. Like you go into the menu, you select where you want to go, the screen dips to black and it comes straight back up and you're in another area of the city. I am really intrigued to see how well that's handled on a PC. Because obviously it takes advantage of the PS5 and their basically bare metal SSD. But yeah, I mean, it looks like this is going to be a bit of a beefy one. If, just reading through the ultimate ray tracing specs here, you've got average performance 4K 60, graphic presets high with ray tracing at very high. GPU is recommended a 3080 or a 6950 XT. CPU is an i7 12700K or a 5900X. 32 gigs of RAM with Windows 10 and 75 gigs free on an SSD. So, yeah. I mean,
not playing about, are they?
Yeah, I mean, my PC has a 3600 CPU and a 3080. So it's going to be an interesting one to see how that handles it. Yeah, that's out next Friday. So keep your eyes peeled on that, because I'm sure there'll be plenty of stuff being covered.
So what will Steam push out for that game then? Obviously 720, I assume.
The Steam Deck's resolution is slightly lower than native 720, I believe. Let me just double check. Steam Deck resolution is 1200 by 800, so it's just slightly above 720p.
Okay.
So it's so it's going to be 1280 by 800, and then depending on, I think you could probably do some tweaks on it. I guess we'll see. You'll have the ability to push it to whatever frame rate you can handle. But yeah, very interested to see how that plays out on the Steam Deck.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably a decent spot to end, because I imagine it's probably warming up in our respective rooms at the moment. Gary is nodding, suggesting that he's got a bit of plum soup going on. So I think
yes, it's a bit sweaty.
So I think it's probably fair to say, thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed it, please do, subscribe to us on your podcast services. Subscribe to us on YouTube channel at Next Gen Base. Follow us on Twitter at Next Gen Base, even though we've not been the most active on Twitter recently. And we will see you hopefully in a couple of weeks, provided again there's no like solar flares that engulf us all in 60-degree heat or whatever. And we'll see you soon. Thank you for joining me, Gary.
My pleasure. Always a pleasure, sir.
And indeed, thank you for joining me, Aaron.
Oh, you can actually see my hand. Amazing.
And yeah, we'll see you in a couple of weeks. Take care, guys. Bye.
Bye.